Hey guys, Luton here, and so today's video, it's kind of like a breakdown. It's really like a, let's take a little stock check, let's look where we are at. I was sitting here tonight, and I was just thinking, what am I going to talk about? What game? I had a bit of a YouTuber's block, I suppose, tonight. I was just sitting here, and I like blankly couldn't think of what I wanted to talk about. I had a little look around, a lot of people talking about Fallout, Call of Duty, Halo, and it's like Fallout I'm going to do a review about, probably not going to do too much on it here on the channel, doesn't really fit here on the channel, but Call of Duty not interested in, Halo not interested in. Overwatch, I really want to get into Overwatch. I'm very excited about that game actually, but I have tried multiple different angles, haven't been able to get beta access yet. I've got one last avenue to try, so we'll see what we can do there. Blizzard are quite, it's not just me as well, there's like some larger YouTube producers have all been finding it very hard to get in on the beta for Overwatch, and it's a bit of a weird one really, but it's kind of just Blizzard for you, you know. So let's stock check, where are we at, and kind of what am I thinking about. I wanted to tell you guys some of the things I'm thinking of doing, some of the ideas I have. The channel right now here has been, I will admit, like a little bit all over the place, but that's because, you know, things have gone all over the place. Battlefield has not been there for me, you know. A lot of things have changed in Battlefield, and therefore my feelings have changed about Battlefield, and as I've said multiple times, I still enjoy Battlefield. I'm very hopeful for the next title. The keyword is hopeful, but it's not something that can really be primary for me. It just can't, with the way things have changed, and I could get into a really huge breakdown about that, but I feel like I've talked about it so much already, you know. So where am I at? What other games are kind of my primary titles? What other things do I want to get into? What other things do I want to break down? Well, obviously, Arma. Arma is a big game for me now. I do the Zeus stuff, I do the tactical stuff, I look into what's the best way to do it. It's a complicated game that's very intimidating for a lot of people, so I want to produce more beginner guides on specific bits of information, little key things to help people out, because I still, on an almost daily basis, have people saying like, you know, on older videos that I've made, like, this was so helpful, thank you, and this has really been helping me get into the game. And you know, a lot of people watch my Zeus videos and then want to get the game, and that's been happening this week as well. So there's a lot of stuff I want to do with Arma, and I still continue to enjoy that, but again, it's just kind of, you know, scheduling and fitting it all in, and this is always a really difficult thing for me. As you guys know, working full-time and then trying to do everything on top of that, it's tricky for me, because I have to schedule everything around it. I can't just sort of get up and focus purely on YouTube, so it's hard to try and figure those other things around that. Battlefield 4 is still there, but you know, it really is at the end of its life, and not in a kind of really negative way, just in the fact that it's been there for a long time, and you know, there's so many other games around at the moment, it's hard for me to really kind of pick it up and get into it. We had some great fun this week though, on the server with the Overwatch map, and I look forward to Dragon Valley and so on and so on. So there's still some playability there, but it's just not a primary thing right now, you know. We have, of course, they've got Star Wars Battlefront, and that's coming up next week. But again, it's going to be interesting to sort of see how that goes. I'm curious as to what kind of content I'm going to be able to make for that. Now, as you guys know, weapon reviews and stuff like this is not something that I've really done before. I'm probably not planning to do it for this either. But if there is some more specific relevance with those things in terms of, you know, how much effect they're going to have, then I'll probably mention it. But it's probably not going to be so much a case of me going like, you know, okay, here's my guide to every single weapon in the game. I don't really see any value to that. It'd probably be more that I would pick up like one specific element and point and say like, look, this gun is very powerful in this situation, or you know, this gun is OP because, you know, as we saw with like maybe the pistol blaster and stuff previously, or maybe I'll just look at game modes and things. So there's a few things I'll probably break it down, you know, but I wouldn't say it's going to be like my channel turns into Star Wars Battlefront. That's just not going to happen. It will be more along the lines of, I want to definitely take a look at it as I have done already, but it's just going to, you know, fall into part of everything else. Squad is also a game I want to revisit very soon indeed, this week hopefully. Squad, as you guys know, is being produced from the guys who did Project Reality. We've looked at it, it was very exciting, but it's in a development process, and you know, sometimes in a development process it doesn't mean that you're going to get week on week updates in terms of it moving forward, and so sometimes you need to leave a little block and then kind of, you know, come in, right, where are we at, and then okay, sort of bookmark and move on and come back to it later. So I want to look at Squad as it continues, and I'll try and keep you guys up to date with that. I'm still in contact with the guys who are working working on it, and you know, it looks really exciting. I'm very hopeful that Squad is going to become something that you guys want to see, that I will regularly cover on the channel here, because as you can probably imagine, it does kind of suit my feeling for play. It's quite tactical. It's not incredibly fast-paced in the same way as like Battlefield. You have to be sensible at how you move, you have to communicate, you have to work as a team, and you know, in the early stages that we've been testing it on, it's been fairly sort of loose and public, right? But when you get into the sort of their vision for how it's actually going to be, you're going to need to be playing with other people, otherwise you're not going to really be able to get anywhere at all, and that's actually going to be very interesting to see how that happens. So Squad is another one I want to keep my eye on there. What else? Verdun. Verdun, continue to be really excited about. Verdun is a World War I style shooter, and it's more the pacing of that game, the pacing and the balance between the weapons, because it's all these sort of single shot rifles, and well, they're semi-automatic, they're loading rifles, some of them. So yeah, Verdun continues to be really, really good, and it's a brutal game. It's very unforgiving, and the pacing in it is something that you don't really find anywhere else. They have a new map coming up very soon, and I'm excited about that. Again, been talking to the devs about that one, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. So Verdun, you know, having a little bit more of that very soon, and again, I really enjoy that gameplay. Star Citizen is of course ongoing. Again, I try not to do like week on week videos for that. I mean, I kind of feel like I could sometimes, but it would be, there's so much speculation in Star Citizen, and that's not a bad thing, but it's kind of like you don't want to go overboard with it, do you know what I mean? And you know, there's a lot of kind of talk about, is the game going to be completed, etc., and you know, for many people, as I've said, feel like yes, definitely it will, but we just need to kind of see where it goes, and you know, there's things that we're waiting for. I'm going to make some videos about it soon, so yeah, Star Citizen is still there and ongoing, but I'm going to sort of keep throwing that in the mix there as well. Total War is a game which I have been, you know, really enjoying a lot of for a long time, and I kind of want to showcase some more of. Obviously we have the Total War Warhammer coming out really soon, and that is really exciting to look forward to. The gameplay that I've had with it so far has been really excellent, and I just can't wait to see more of that game really. So Total War Warhammer is one I'm really looking forward to. Total War Attila, of course, is a game that I've been playing with Flame quite a bit, and I'll look to throw out some more missions there for you guys, and sort of show you some cinematic pre-recordings and things like this, because those are really enjoyable to play out, and I think most of the time people have been enjoying to watch those as well. It's something a little bit different, you know, it just breaks up the kind of FPS style to see that kind of medieval pitched battle action going on, and I think it's, you know, it can be really exciting depending on the environment and the armies that you're fighting with, so that's a really good one there. Dawn of War. Now, as I've said, like there's a few 40k things going around for me at the mo, and Dawn of War is one that I put up the other day. I was actually quite surprised how well the video did, considering it was just basically me and Flame like grinding down some AI. We'll look to play against each other, maybe even scrim against some other people. There's a couple of guys in my guild, guild. I had like a World of Warcraft flashback right there. There's a couple of people in our community clan who have Dawn of War as well, so we might try and scrim against those guys and get some good gameplay there. I think that'd be pretty exciting to watch, and you know, could roll out different armies, you know, have Tyranids versus Imperial Guard, and you know, just try and change it up, go outside our comfort zones a little bit. And yes, of course, the Apocalypse mod for standard Dawn of War, I have heard of it, thank you, okay, but I don't know if I'm going to be playing that. I've been playing Dawn of War 2 quite a lot, and I'm wanting to get back into it, just because, you know, who knows what we're going to hear in the future. It would be cool to kind of like imagine that there's maybe going to be another Dawn of War come along at some point, and so I would like to kind of get competent with the game so that if that happens, you know, we're ready there for it. Talking of that, what are Relic up to? I would like to know what they're doing. You know, they must be, they work on some of the best 40k titles, so I'd like to know what they're up to. Other games as well, and other things for the channel. Okay, so one last primary thing before I go into just possible games. One other thing that I want to do is some more creative stuff. Now, Twitch recently enabled basically creative as an option, as many people have been watching Bob Ross this week, as I have been all too aware. But many of you guys will know that I am a designer, and I'm also an illustrator. My university degree was in illustration, and you know, I posted a few pictures on Twitter the other day. People really liked. I did do one live stream of me drawing a little while back as well, but I think the creative aspect for me is something that I think could be really exciting for the channel. It doesn't always have to be speed draws, it could just be some sort of slower techniques and just kind of looking at different things. But you know, something else I thought about would be so Star Wars is coming out pretty soon, and so is some 40k games as well. It'd be pretty cool to sort of have people on the stream maybe throw out suggestions of like what we could do. Could be landscapes, could be characters, could be different things like this, and you know, we can just sort of sit down and bash them through and draw them out. And I think that would be really cool. I think it would definitely add something that's fairly unique to the channel here, something unique to me as well. It'd be quite personal to me, and who knows, I mean, if I was doing physical drawing, not just digital painting, if I was doing physical drawing, I've got like a webcam here as well, and I could literally, you know, be doing like physical manual painting or drawing. You know, it could even be the case where people end up sort of you know, receiving those artworks or buying those artworks or something along those lines. So I think that would be a really curious thing to sort of throw in here. I think it'd be something which, again, I can't think of another channel that has sort of gaming that does that. There probably are some, but not any that I can think of. So I think that would be a really nice thing. Just something kind of crazy and different to sort of throw in the mix there. So let me know your thoughts about that one, guys. We then also have one last thing that I want to talk about just before I go on to a couple of tiny things. Eternal Crusade, Warhammer 40,000 Eternal Crusade. This is a game that I've done one video about already. I've been live streaming it. More live streams to come this week, by the way, so I'm going to have some more codes to give out for you guys. So if you want to get in on the alpha with the Captain Packs, I've got a few more to give away there. You want to be testing your 40k lore knowledge. But this game, it's trying to sort of be in a vein similar to PlanetSide, and it's really exciting. I'm really hoping that things go in the right direction here. They listen to the community overall and look at the kind of balancing and the way things need to work for this game. They are very committed from the people that I've spoken to already to ensuring that this is a good product, a good release. It does what people want. There's a lot of concern between people on sort of microtransactions and things like this, but again, from what I have spoken to people about and what I've seen with this game, I think people need to calm down about that. You know, the developers are not idiots. They don't want to, you know, create a good game and then destroy it by putting microtransactions that kind of spoil the balance of the game. I think people are automatically very negative about that, but it's like, you know, you need to have that. It's not going to be a subscription-based game, and there's loads more stuff I can talk to about this. So I think people just need to calm down about those things and look at the core mechanics of what is being created right now. If you want to kind of bitch and moan about those other things later, then worry about them later, but right now we're in the kind of core process of creating this game, and that's what people really need to be focusing on, not all that other stuff which, you know, you can complain to your heart's content later on if that's what you want, but right now you need to look at the kind of the base foundation of the game, because that's what's critical right now, because God knows we need some, you know, more multiplayer 40k games out there, and this is one which could be really awesome. So I'm looking forward a lot more to Eternal Crusade and how that's going to go down. Okay, and then just a couple of other things here. So some games that I don't showcase very much, but I want to just kind of keep my eye on. All right, Dirt Rally. Dirt Rally is a fantastic rally game. I always loved the classic Colin McRae rally games, and Dirt Rally has been very much in that vein. I want to keep my eye on it because although it doesn't really suit the style here on the channel, I think it suits the audience on the channel rather than the style of the channel, if that makes sense. I think it's a kind of game, and from the videos that I've posted before, people really enjoyed, and so I think it's one that I'm going to throw in there here and there. Again, it's not something I'm going to do week on week, but you know, it's good to kind of throw some little standalone videos in the mix there, so that's what I'm going to do. Company of Heroes. I've not really covered any Company of Heroes on here. Company of Heroes 2 is a game that's been around for ages, but it's still a really excellent game. Company of Heroes 2 is fantastic to play, it looks good, it's entertaining to watch, I think, anyway. So I would like to put some videos up here and there, again, maybe some just standalones of some multiplayer gameplay. It's really exciting, and you know, I think it plays out great. So that's another one I want to throw in the mix there, and considering that people really enjoyed Dawn of War, you know, if I had a good session where some really exciting things happened in there, I think that would be entertaining for people to watch, so I'm going to try and look at throwing some of that in the mix. And then lastly, I just want to mention about Red Orchestra. Now, you know, a lot of people in the past, when I was looking at, say, Verdun and things like this, and they're saying, like, I was very like Red Orchestra, and it's like, yeah, okay. But Red Orchestra 2, for example, I have the games, I played the games, I've just never really put any content out there. For one thing, it's just kind of like a scheduling thing. It's like, how much time do I have to play all these different games, right? And so Red Orchestra 2, it's something that I might try and consider putting a couple of bits and pieces together for, just like an odd video here and there. Again, it might be something just nice to mix it up, you know. So, you know, that's really where we are with things. I think this was probably the most appropriate video for me to make, actually, today, when I couldn't really think of what it was I wanted to talk about, and I think it's more appropriate that I actually do sort of make this video covering the bases. It gives me kind of like a staging point to go on from here and be like, okay, what am I going to talk about for the rest of this week? Already I've got ideas buzzing around my head about, like, stuff I can do. I think for me, half the problem is that I have so much I want to do, and so many different games I want to talk about, and I just do not have the time, and sometimes you know, I put out one video and another video, and then an idea I had like 2-3 days ago, I come back and I'm just like, you know, is that really going to fit now? Like, how's it going to work? And it's very difficult to stay on top of things, but I try hard, but managing time on top of everything else is always super difficult. And then on top of that, we got all the live streams. I still massively enjoy doing the live streams. My Twitch audience has been growing, and I've been having more subscribers than ever lately, which is really great. I thank everybody for the support there. It's been very much appreciative. Anybody here on the YouTube channel, if you guys are interested in supporting me and what I do, and just, you know, assisting me in my life in terms of supporting things, I have a Patreon account. It's all linked down below as usual, and I really appreciate the Patreon support from people that I have already. With Patreon, there are some goals that I have set in terms of, you know, people contributing and then it enabling more time for me to do stuff, because basically right now I have, for people that don't know, right now what I have is I work full-time, but then I also do private work outside of that. I do commissions and other bits and pieces, and so it's hard sometimes for me to rationalize, okay, to myself, balancing work time versus YouTube time, because unbelievably, like, despite what many people may think, YouTube really doesn't pay you that well. It doesn't pay that well at all. And so for me, a lot of the time, doing one piece of work can, you know, if I do one commission, that can sometimes pay for the same amount that I may pay, you know, for the whole of a YouTube month, right? An entire month of video making. So you can see that there's a bit of a disparity there. So the whole thing with Patreon is that if I get enough support there, it makes it easier for me to rationalize saying, okay, well, I'm not going to do this piece of work, or I'm not going to take that project, I'm going to take that time and I'm going to put it into making, say, a podcast or something else. So it's all down there on the Patreon page. You can read at your leisure, and just it also has a little description about just kind of how I got into YouTube and my thinking there. So have a little read through and you can see what you think there. But any small amount of support from people is always massively appreciated. But at the end of the day, it's not strictly necessary. It's just an extra thing that you guys can do if you want to help support me. If you don't and you want to continue to watch the content, just go for it. That's absolutely fine too. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate your continued support as always. I welcome any ideas you have about the channel. If there's a game you think that would be really great for the channel and you want me to cover it, if you have ideas or viewpoints about a specific game and you think that's something that I need to cover, which I have not been covering, then throw that in there as well. Ultimately, I always want to work towards the channel becoming more successful and just, you know, always moving in a forward direction. And that's what I try to do. It's very hard work, but ultimately I really enjoy it, and that's why we do it. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for all your support, and I'll see you guys the rest of the week for some more video content and live streaming.